What's going on, gentlemen? Brian Bandas here with The Married Man. Thank you for joining me again. Happy Friday. Wanted to talk to you guys about this idea of uncommon commitment. And perfect timing, I just read an article that I think ties in really well. I don't want to be too judgmental in this article, but it does hit close to home for me. I read an article about some famous, I don't know, influencer, so to speak, who had adopted a child and then 2.5 years later decided that things were not going that well and they rehomed this child. So I don't know if any of you out there have adopted. I don't know if you're aware of this. We don't talk about it a lot on The Married Man, but my wife and I have an adopted son. Brought him home, probably, I don't know, I guess 8 months ago. And I'm going to be candid with you guys. It has been really hard. It has been very hard. And the guys who are close to me have gotten to sit with me and cry with me and hear me basically cuss about how hard things are and how I feel like I'm doing a terrible job on some days and all that. I'm just telling you guys bluntly, it is not easy. It's been a huge adjustment for our family. Obviously a huge adjustment for this kid. He's 4 years old. He didn't choose this crap, right? Like, he had no say in this. It's just hard for everybody all the way around. And I was reading this and I thought, there it is again. There is the, like, I'm committed unless it gets really hard and then I'm going to find a way out. I'm committed as long as it doesn't, like, really push me. And that's what I'm talking about this week, this idea of uncommon commitment. On some of these Facebook groups that I mentioned to you guys, they're just different dad groups and stuff like that I'm a part of on Facebook. I see so many men talking about the challenges and the pain and that their marriages are falling apart. And in every single one, I can sense the pain because they don't want it to. I think that almost every single man out there wants a healthy, beautiful, rich, fulfilling marriage. Like, who doesn't? I'm pretty sure most of us, when we say our I do's, we mean it, we're not lying, and we are envisioning years and years and years of a fulfilling, rich relationship. And yet somehow, a few years later, we've got these many, many guys who it's not happening. And I know it's not because they don't want it. So I don't want to say that, hey, every single marriage that falls apart, it's because the guy's not committed, period, and that's the deal. I don't believe that's the case. I think there's all kinds of different stories. But here's what I do know. I do know that when I read this story about this family, they're not only bailing out, but they're missing out on the transformation that occurs when you stay in there. What would happen to these people? What level of patience would they have to learn? What new knowledge would they have to acquire? I'll just use my own experience and tell you guys that I am an infinitely more patient person than I was 6 months ago because of this adoption. I also know a lot more about strategic parenting. I can't just go out, go by the seat of my pants, smack the kid on his butt the way I do my other guys, and that takes care of it. It's a little more complex than that. I've had to learn. I've had to slow down. I've had to pray. It has taken so much work, and it has transformed me. It has made me a better man. Marriage does the same thing. So we idolize people like, I talk about Michael Jordan all the time. We idolize Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods, or we idolize somebody like a Richard Branson, or I use the KFC story, right? Everybody knows sort of the gist of the story is that Colonel Sanders, shopped his recipe to like 300 restaurants in order to get KFC off the ground. As an older guy, maybe in his 60s or 70s, he's just hustling. And that level of commitment is so uncommon because that work is so uncomfortable. And the work of a healthy marriage at times is so uncomfortable. And so I'm challenging you guys to find in yourselves an uncommon level of commitment, a level of commitment that says, I'm not only committed as long as it doesn't get too hard. That is we are in that sort of instant gratification and live your truth and only do things that you love it, and I don't give any F's if that, it's all that stuff that's all about me and what's most fun and what's most gratifying. And I'm telling you that's not the fulfilling way to live. And that isn't going to lead to a rich marriage. Uncommon commitment, commitment that says I'm in it, and when it gets really hard, instead of leaving, I'm going to start looking internal, and I'm going to start going, how do I need to change? How do I need to grow? So that's what uncommon commitment looks like. It looks like when it gets really hard, we stay in there anyway. That's what commitment is. It's not I'm committed unless it gets hard. You're not committed. So that's my challenge to you guys. I appreciate you spending some time with me each Friday. Don't ask this every week, but I would ask you guys, if you have a friend, brother, cousin, coworker who you know really cares about his marriage and his family the way that I do and the way that you do, if you'd be willing to forward this over to him, share the video or share a link to themarriedman.co. I'd love to have them join the group as well. We got several hundred guys now. It's really gaining momentum, and it's incredibly fulfilling to hear from you guys. So again, thank you for being a part of it. Share this video with one guy that you think will find this content meaningful, and I will talk to you next week.